What's up? So today we will be reviewing the full series recap for Cobra Kai seasons 1 and 2, and later 3 when I finish this rewatch of the series, leading up to the 4th season coming out next week. So remember at the end of the Karate Kid, of course you remember at the end of the Karate Kid, where Daniel beat Johnny, and this is basically where Johnny is now. And Johnny's basically down on his luck drunk who doesn't get anything in life. He has a job, but when the woman who he worked for tells him to put the door on the other side of the room where he didn't understand her, he says stop being at him, and she doesn't, or bitching at him, and she thinks he's calling her a bitch or B, but he is not doing that, and he gets fired. So he's like, and he sees the LaRusso Auto Group, and he's like, oh, not another one, like, oh, come on, like, yeah. So yeah, he sees the LaRusso Auto Group banner. He's like, oh, another one. So yeah, so he meets his new next door neighbor, Miguel, and he's obviously not like kind of interested in what Miguel has to say, saying, oh yeah, kid, I've been here a long time. The place is crap. Stuff here is crap. So just leave me alone. So they're going to. So Miguel ends up bumping into Johnny at a convenience store where Johnny, Miguel says, oh yeah, it's for, his grandma. I spent a lot of time working with Daniel and Miguel. I didn't even remember my reviews for Cobra Kai. Watch them on the Eagle Fan Kid YouTube channel, or Eagle Fan Karate. I'm still gonna change it probably, I don't know. The Eagle Fan Kid for now. Or Eagle Fan Teen, I don't know. Might change it. I don't know, but for now, check it out on Eagle Fan Kid. So, that's me. So, anyway, yeah, so back to the show. Miguel gets beat up by three students in his school who call him Maria because he's giving Pepto-Bismol to his grandma and give him Maria, who call him Maria, pour the Pepto-Bismol on him, and yeah. So after bumping into his car, Johnny decides to beat up these people, but the main guy with the spiky hair doesn't want to give up. He's like, oh yeah, like come on, man. But then Johnny gets arrested, and we learn that R.I.P. to Ed Asner, who plays Johnny's stepfather, Sid. Even though Sid's a jerk, Ed Asner, R.I.P. or Ed Asner. Yeah, it sounds like that. Tell me what his real name is in the comments. I almost said comics. I don't know why I said that. So yeah, so he loves it, and he's talking about how Johnny's mom died, how Johnny's mom are still alive. Yeah. So Johnny's like, hey, just get your stuff out of here. So yeah. So one day he should flashing back, listen to in the background, Head Games is playing, and he's thinking about Allie, thinking about the stuff that happened in the original Karate Kid when he goes to a place where he flashbacks to Karate Kid Part 2, where Creed's almost strangling him. Watch my Karate Kid film reviews on Eagle Fan Kid. So yeah, but then a girl and her friends accidentally destroy his car, and he obviously scares them enough to make them run away. So with his car destroyed, he has no place to go to the place he once feared. Daniel LaRusso Auto. And he tries to be there fast, like saying, hey, can you just get towed? I don't really want to be in this. I don't really want to be at LaRusso Auto. And she's like, And she's like, hey, this... And she's like, hey, this is only a good place. We kicked the competition. And he's like, yeah, I've seen your ads. So, yeah. But then he runs into Daniel, and Johnny's like, oh, crap. And Johnny's like, and like he tries to introduce him to Noosh and Louie. And Louie is Daniel's grandfather's grandfather's son. The grandfather that we saw in Karate Kid 3 for like a second. I'm guessing he died at the end because they don't mention him, and not even Daniel's mom mentions him later on, so I'm guessing he either died or just retired. So, yeah. So, yeah. So, back to, I'm always doing this wrong. Like, so Daniel's like, we're glad there's no Cobra Kai anymore. And Daniel goes up to Miguel and he's like, hey, you're gonna be my karate teacher? And he's like, no, I'm gonna be your sensei. So then episode 2 starts off with Johnny saying quiet when Miguel, he's like, quiet. I have no idea how to do it, but he's like, quiet. I cannot raise my voice as much as Johnny can. Yeah, I can't. See? Quiet. That's how he does it. See? I can't do it as much as Johnny can, but obviously Johnny does it really cool, and he tells Miguel to quiet, and he's like, yeah, you gotta leave your asthma and all your other crap, leave it outside. In Karate Kid Dojo, we be badass. And so at school, Miguel meets Nerdy Dimitri and Lipscar Eli. And they're obviously, and he's like, hey, have you ever talked to the popular kids? And they're like, no, why would we do that? You really think that a popular girl is going to talk to them? I mean, within popular girl is Sam, Daniel's daughter, and her boyfriend Kyler, who obviously we all know, who beat up Miguel in the last episode. But she doesn't know this, and Kyler doesn't tell her. So, yeah, so she's like, so she has a pool party, invites all of them. So, yeah, so when Daniel tries to strike first, when Miguel goes up to him, Kyler's like, hey, like, sup, bro? And Miguel's like, so that's why you gotta strike first. But you gotta get the girl before, according to the show. So, yeah, there's also Aisha, who's being bullied by Sam's crew, and she'll also be by Sam's mean girls, and Yasmin, not Moon. Moon's the best character. We can all agree that Moon's the best character in this entire show, because Moon's just the best, even though, she's the best later on, so she's the best later on. Yeah, so I'm trying to make a Karate Kid joke. So, anyway, yeah. So Aisha is being bullied by Yasmin. But Sam wants to be popular, so she thinks that hanging out with Aisha is not cool. Because she wants to be a popular crew. So, hanging out with her former friend could get her popular cred to go down. So, she decides to... So, yeah. So in episode 3, we meet Miguel's grandma and mom, and yeah, so they're like, hey, Johnny's like, no, you're not going in that costume for Halloween, because it's a Halloween episode, even though it didn't air in Halloween for some reason. Yeah, he's like, you're not going to Halloween in that costume. We got tradition to uphold. And what is that tradition? Wearing a skeleton, because if you remember in the original Karate Kid, Johnny wore a skeleton to his Halloween dance before Daniel put water on him, which is kind of Daniel's. No one Johnny doesn't like the dude. It was Daniel's idea. Like, Daniel wanted revenge, but anyway. So Daniel obviously gets, when he sees Miguel, he obviously gets flashbacks to when Johnny and his crew beat him up. So why is Daniel there? Because he accidentally intercepted a text from Sam to Kyler, and he thinks that Kyler wants to sleep with his daughter. So he tries to interrupt them, and Kyler's just saying, I was gonna give him this necklace, and he's like, Sam, and then she's like, you just embarrassed me, bro. Don't talk to me again. Go. So yeah, so she's like, let's go, and then they again be mean by sending a whole picture of Aisha eating Cheetos, which is kind of like, what the crap? This girl likes Cheetos. She can't. They call her Cheeto Pig because obviously she dressed like a pig because. So yeah. And Sam tries to vouch for Aisha, saying, "Oh, they'll just forget Aisha," and Aisha's like, no, they'll never forget." So Miguel hears Kyler talking bad about Sam or something and goes to fight Kyler, but obviously gets beaten up, and he takes him home to Miguel's mom, where Miguel's mom saying like don't ever come near my son again. And Miguel yells, Cobra Kai never dies. And so Johnny basically just goes on without Miguel, and he gives up on Cobra Kai and decides to go drunk and spray a penis on Daniel. And Daniel is not happy about this, thinking that Cole's on Van Nuys decided to be mean. They even copied they also copied off Daniel's commercial of him giving them out a tree. So obviously Daniel isn't happy about this and decides, and he's like, oh yeah, you're like, you want to teach us karate, bro? He's like, hey, you look good with a hey, you're the guy with the piece on the billboard, and he just kicks the drink out of Tom Cole's hand. I recommend Daniel because Daniel's kind of the best in that moment because he looked at like a guy mentioned how he has a penis on his billboard. So so Aisha's next member to join Cobra Kai is Aisha, because Aisha decides, hey, these people are being bullied her and telling her like she should die and all this stuff, and Johnny's like, these guys are wimps. And back in Johnny's day, they would tell if someone was being bullied, if someone wanted to be mean to someone, they would tell them straight to the face, not in text. So he's like, so Johnny, being the gender guy, being the, what is it called? Being the anti-feminist person that he is, because he grew up in the 80s, he decides to say, Aisha, doesn't have it takes to be Cobra Kai material, because there are girls in the army, and it's just like, Johnny, Johnny, are you a feminist? And he's like, so he lets her join because Miguel's able to convince him, and he fights her, and Miguel kicks her down, but then Aisha, sorry, I keep getting those names confused. Aisha defeats Miguel. So because she has natural born cobra. So but then Miguel, when Sam discovers what Kyler has been doing to Eli, Dimitri, and Miguel, she breaks up with Kyler, and Kyler spreads these bad rumors about her, saying that she's better than Yasmin and Moon's like, hey, say what you did and we can forgive each other. And she's like, I hope you guys, so he's like, so Kyler's like, hey guys, penis on the billboard, that's Sam's dad. I guess she takes that from her dad or something, and then Miguel's like, shut your mouth, Kyler, and he's like, are you gonna show me your lame ass karate? He's like, it ain't lame ass karate, it's Cobra Kai, and that moment, I just love that moment. I can even quote that moment because it's just so. Daniel beats all of the boys, Miguel beats all the boys. Getting those confused for some reason. Miguel beats all the boys, gets in trouble with. She's like, get down from there for some reason. It impressed Sam, and Miguel and Daniel and Johnny goes to a restaurant and sees a kid and a father hanging out. So convinces him to, and he's like, "Hey, I know, I messed up, but this time let Miguel come back, and this time I won't fail him again." So yeah, even Yaya, Miguel's grandma, is like, she likes Johnny. So yeah, so yeah. So because of the school fight, all the nerds want to join Cobra Kai. So Johnny's kind of like, guys, you're not Cobra Kai material. But Miguel's like, what? You got what you wanted. You got a full dojo. Miguel's like, you got what you wanted. You got a full dojo. But he's like, I want strong people, not a bunch of nerds. And he's like, I'm a nerd. And he's like, and these guys are my friends. And he's like, don't go crying on me, Diaz. Johnny, yeah. So yeah, so Dimitri is Dimitri, Miguel. So let's talk about another character important to the show, Robbie, Johnny's son, who hates his dad because Johnny wasn't there for her. Missed out on every day of Robbie's life. So Robbie kind of doesn't like Johnny. So he decides to, he's like, a delinquent who steals stuff from his various jobs. And when he finds out about Johnny, he has a plan to join Luther Auto to get back at Johnny. So he has Luther Auto to get back at Johnny. So Dimitri's like, Dimitri basically is like, hey, this guy knows that this, like, and yeah, so one day, Robbie's like walking, and he sees Johnny, and he sees him hugging Miguel, because for some reason, Aisha is able to get a black belt, and after one day of joining Cobra Kai, Miguel gets the white suit too. So how did Johnny give everyone, anyway, later, that's a later thing, so Dimitri obviously quits because Johnny's tough man. But who stays on? But Eli. And he's like, hey, Lip, and he's like, please don't call me that. And he's like, if you want to be a kid on the lip, that's what people are gonna look when they see you. They're not gonna look at you, they're gonna look at your lip. And if you want to not flip the script, bro. So next day, Eli comes in with a cool blue mohawk, and Johnny's like, are you the kid with his lip? Nice cut, bro. You're not Lip anymore. You're Hawk. So, Hawk is born, everybody. So, I guess we'll have to call him Hawk from now on, since he now officially calls himself as that. So in the next episode, Hawk reveals his cool Hawk tattoo, and Aisha's like, that's badass. And he's like, does your parents know? And he's like, no, I'm gonna keep this on till college. Hawk, so funny. So in that same episode, Johnny finds out that the All Valley tournament is they're banned from the All Valley tournament. All Valley tournament is because of what Terry Silver did in Karate Kid Part 3. But he's like, but Miguel's like, what? That's not fair. And he's like, So now with Sam and Kyler broken up, Miguel now tries to strike first and get Sam to ask him, but he's like, hey, this isn't a date. This is just like a normal people doing normal things, except for kissing. And he's like, hey, what's Sam like? She's like, she likes the planetarium. But Johnny's like, no, you're not going to some planetarium. You're going to where I took my babes back in the day. Golfin Blow. I think Golfin Stuff. Or Golfin Blow. But that's where Johnny took Allie, that's where Daniel took Allie, and this is where Miguel takes Sam. They get an octopi, and Miguel's like, and even Sam kisses Miguel. So, yeah, but Sam's kind of tense with her whole dad hating Cobra Kai. So, it's kind of, tense. Like, she wants to introduce her dad to Miguel, but she doesn't want her dad finding out that she's dating a member of Cobra Kai. So she says it's some guy from her study group or something. So yeah. So what? So yeah. But that. So yeah. So yeah. But then Louis, but now since Robbie has been joining Lucid Auto, he's joined Daniel's new karate dojo as his first student of Miyagi-Do karate. Or karate. I think karate, yeah. So yeah, they don't call things that they do in SpongeBob. Remember when it was called karate instead of karate? So yeah, so anyway, yeah. So yeah. So Louis decides to blow up Johnny's car. Not Louis. Louis just decides to trash it. And as Johnny's writing a letter to Robbie or something, and Johnny's and one of the biker members of Louis joins Cobra Kai, blows up his Firebird. So Johnny's obviously not mad. This confronting Daniel and saying, "Hey, you blew up my car." And he's like, "What? I gave you that car." And he's like, "You and your goons." And he's like, "What goons?" And he's like, "I disposed of them right." And he's like, "Oh, Louis." And he's like, "My cousin did it." And he's like, oh, the LaRussos. They're rotten to the core, people. And he's like, and they start to fight, but then Anthony's like, "Kick his ass, or kick his butt, Dad." And he's like, "Anthony, go inside." And Johnny's like, "You better listen to your father, kid. He's gonna, Dad, kid. He's gonna, you know, like," but then the best character in this entire show, Amanda LaRusso, she's like, sometimes she's the best character. She's like, I know I would like to see you act out with your old karate rival, but I don't get blood on the patio. I love Amanda. She's always bringing the show back to reality when the show gets serious. Gets all funny or serious. So, yeah, so she's like, "Hey, like, you don't have to marry him, just get him a car." And yeah, so he basically reveals about the whole, you know, like, seeing him crashing his car, and that's why they go there, and and Amanda's like, "Hey, what's up? Like, did you crash a car And she was like, "It was Yasmin." And she was like, "I don't care who it was. Why'd you tell us this?" And she was like, "Hey, give me your phone," as Miguel's trying to get in contact with her because, of course, the last episode, Miguel discovered Robbie at Sam's house. There's a funny blooper that they should have put in the show where Miguel confronts Robbie, and Robbie's like, "Aren't you the dude that was hugging his dad?" It's funny when Tanner Buchanan says it better than me, but that was a funny blooper, and I think that should have been in the show, but obviously it wasn't for Sam and Miguel drama. So, yeah, so obviously Miguel, so after finding out that Yasmin's having a party, he's like, "Hey, Eli," and he's like, "It's Hawk now." And he's like, "Okay, Hawk." It's like, "I hear you saying it, and I don't like it." Hawk. Jacob Bertrand is phenomenal in this role. Who can agree? Is Jacob Bertrand amazing as Hawk? He is. So he's like, "Hey, why don't we kidnap her and have Rico tattoo the word BITCH on Yasmin's face?" Hawk. Yeah. Hawk is no longer Eli. He's not, you know, like, so, yeah, so she's like, "Oh, they're having a party tonight, let's crash it." So they said to buy beer with Hawk's fake ID, Walter Hawkman. And Dimitri's just looking at this, and he's like, "Yeah, that's my kid over there." This show is great as comedy. Comedy. Yeah. Comedy. So yeah. So they go. So Miguel's trying to contact Sam, but since Sam's got grounded from her phone and all her other devices, Amanda's like, "Hey, Sam's like, hey, let her answer it. And Amanda's like, nope, and declined it, making Miguel leave a voicemail for her. And when Miguel finds out she's with Robbie because Robbie broke her out, it's not good going for Sam and Miguel's relationship as he fights Robbie and he accidentally hits Sam. And Sam's like, my dad was right. Cobra Kai are the bad guys, so have fun determining Miguel because I'm not showing up. So, yeah. Yeah, and then Johnny and Daniel are hanging out, talking about Allie and what she's been doing. Their friendship is obviously destroyed by the entry of Robbie, and he actually pushes him, saying, what was that for? And then Robbie's like, Dad. And he's like, excuse me, Dad. And he basically gives up his trust in Daniel, gives up his trust in Robbie, gives up his trust in Robbie, telling him not to come to the dojo, not to come to the dealership. And if he just let himself explain, but Daniel's too angry to. So the next episode, the finale, Mercy. I know I haven't been naming the titles, obviously, but because you already know the titles by now. But it's tournament time. It's tournament time. And they're obviously worried about Johnny, and they're like, hey, did Johnny like murder himself? Or they're like, hey, that'd be a bad move for Johnny to just die. So Johnny just shows up, and so Johnny's like, hey, and Miguel's like, Cobra Kai, because he's trying to forget about him and Sam's breakup, and so he's like, Cobra Kai, and Sam and Miguel show up, because of the Russo auto always being there, and so Miguel's like, hey, it's like, too bad your boyfriend turned out to be a jerk. And she said, Daniel, too bad your boyfriend turned out to be the son of your more sworn enemy. I love how she said that Robbie's his boyfriend. I love Amanda. Amanda is the best character in the entire show, next to Moon and Miguel. Because she's just so hilarious. I don't know. Is it the actress? The actress is so great. I don't know. But anyway, so they show up. Robbie fights unsolicited as banner of no dojo, and they're like, hey, did you know who's gonna be there? And he's like, no. So Miguel does a crane kick, and Sam's like, he stole your move, and it's just like, come on, Sam. Some of this writing in the show is great, but some of it's just like, come on, show. Nothing isn't throwing this show bad. I think the people on the show are great, and the writing great, but yeah. So Hawk beats a guy, and Hawk kicks a guy, does a weird thing with his muscles, and that makes Moon fall for him even more. Yeah. Because last episode, I forgot to mention, Yasmin and Kyler and Moon were there. Moon fell for Hawk, and Aisha gave Yasmin a wedgie for calling them free. And so Hawk does, after a bunch of moves, Aisha gets eliminated. Sam has a talk with Aisha. So, and she's like, hey, so she could just join her dojo, but Sam's like, nah. So anyway, she's like, it's awkward. So, anyway, in a round, he's like, Rob makes fun of Hawk's hair. Hawk kicks him does an illegal move, dislocating his arm. Hawk gets eliminated and makes Johnny realize his whole no mercy mentality is kind of the wrong way to teach his students. Daniel fakingly tried to do Mr. Miyagi's move, but then actually calls him Mick. He's like, hey, just because he's your father doesn't mean you have to, just because he failed you doesn't mean you have to hate Johnny. Johnny may have some faults, but it's not, may have some faults, but doesn't mean you don't have to like him. Yeah, cool, I'm doing a Cobra Kai video with a Cobra Kai shirt on. So, even though I'm pro. So, yeah. So Miguel injures Robbie's shoulder even more. Robbie joins Miyagi-Do Karate. And yeah, so he's like, what was that? He's like, what? I was doing what you told, Sensei. You said no mercy. And yeah, so he got, because of what Miguel said to Sam, yeah, about how he's gonna do what he was gonna do Robbie in the final. Sam leaves and Cobra Kai wins. He's like, and Daniel's like, just because Cobra Kai won doesn't mean they aren't the bad guys. You're the true winner, Robbie. No matter what that trophy said, no matter if Cobra Kai won, no matter what that trophy says, you're the real winner, Robbie. So yeah, so they go to Miyagi's home, and he's like, here's the home of Miyagi-Do Karate. And yeah, but then at the end of the episode, we see John Kreese show up, and he's like, the people here tried to close the doors on us. But the story is only just beginning. Ending season 1. So, this was a pretty good season based on the recap. I loved all the characters. I loved Miguel. I loved Hawk. I loved Dimitri. Even though Dimitri, I love Sam. I think Mary Mauser does a great job. I liked her in The Fosters as Sarah Miller, even though I think, Sarah, yeah, her name was Sarah. She was pretty great in that show, even though she only had like 3 episodes to herself. 2 in season 1 and then 1 in season 2, being her final appearance. But she was still a great actress. I liked her in the Disney Channel show Frenemy, where she portrayed two characters with 2 different accents. And this season is great. The ending where John Kreese just shows up is the best ending ever. Because Johnny was thinking that, hey, Kreese is dead. Like, he even told the All Valley promoter, John Kreese is dead. But Kreese just shows up being like, they tried to close, but... So that's where season 1 ends. Let's see where season 2 picks up next time on Cobra Kai Recap.